Hey, dead people, welcome to Death by Podcast, the world's greatest horror podcast ever in the universe. I'm your host, Adam. That's your other host,
Gavin.
Gavin. Who's Gavin this week? I like that. Yep. Folks, episode 82. Do we have a classic for you or what? Letter was Q. Kevin finally picked Q. The Winged Serpent. What was the other title? It had another title or just Q?
It's either just Q or Q the Winged Serpent.
Okay. So we watched that for you this week. But before we get to it, we've got, what'd you watch and some news and some other happenings. Kevin, you said the world exploded or something. You were laughing and crying at the same time about stuff. What do you got?
News. I'll do the good news first.
There's good and bad news.
Actually, this is
right.
So the good news is all because San Diego Comic-Con's going on right now. So
it's done.
Oh yeah, I guess it's over. But NECA, we're big fans of their
yes, we are.
Pretty badass toy company. They had some really cool stuff. I'll focus on the horror stuff. They're doing another line of Toonie Terrors, which we loved. Have you seen what's in the line?
If they announced it at San Diego, I did not see it.
Okay, so it is Megan, who
really they're already doing that. All right,
yeah, they're doing Megan. They're doing the Fiend, who is like from the Misfits, the mascot.
Oh,
like
the
logo for the Misfits, basically.
Right. Okay,
they're doing Vincent Price. The Vincent Price looks awesome.
That's awesome.
And my personal favorite, the one I'm going to buy, is their
wait. Let me guess it. It. Your personal favorite?
Yeah,
it's a movie that's your personal favorite.
Yeah, and I'm going to buy it for sure.
They already did Reanimator. Let's see, is it like in that same pocket?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. What do you got?
They're doing Tarman.
Oh no shit!
Return of the Living Dead, and he looks awesome.
Fuck yeah! What a great choice. I don't mind that they're doing new horror, old horror. They're even doing like the Misfits guys from bands and whatever. That's cool. I kind of wish that they had stuck to just vintage horror like it started, because there's so much. But that's a cool list, man.
There's only four of them.
Price. Hell yeah, because there's only one other Vincent Price figure that I can think of, and it's a Super 7 reaction figure.
This one looks awesome. It's it's stylized like the line is, and the other thing that they announced that's pretty badass. So I don't know, have you ever seen any of the RoboCop figures?
Which ones? Like the old ones?
NECA. I mean, at most NECA figures are basically statues. They look amazing.
Yeah.
So they're doing a Murphy figure.
Okay.
But you can change out his body and his face
to be shot off.
To be they have. You can do like a regular one where he's just where he's got the helmet and he's just a regular guy, or you can make him just shot to death, like with his hand exploded, and they have like 3 different faces, and one of them's like in pain and all fucking like.
Dude, that's still to this day, out of all the scenes in that movie, and the toxic waste guy is pretty intense, but that scene where he dies and he's like on the ground, like fucking, and they shoot off his arm. I'm just like, God damn, that's rough.
I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to show that. I'm excited to show the movie to my kids, but I'm excited to show that to them before they know that guy becomes RoboCop.
Yeah. When do you think you'll do that with your kids?
As soon as I think when they're 6, if I can. 6. I think 6 is old enough that they will like appreciate how awesome it is.
Really?
Yeah. Like I don't think they would get like scared of like the RoboCop, but like, like right now, like, yeah, my son loves robots, like and like the violence, I don't want it to like not register.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if he saw it now, he's 2, he'd be like, I don't, he doesn't know what that is. So like, I want it to be like, holy shit, but
it's pretty young, man. I mean, like as far as like appreciating it, RoboCop came out in 87. So I was 11 and my dad took Joe and I to see it. So Joe was even younger.
It's a good dad.
Yeah, but to this day he regrets it, which I don't know why, but
that's not even the like that's the R-rated version too, which is violent, but it's not anywhere close to the NC-7. Like the version that The real version is, that's the one I want to show him. The one that's like, uh, uh,
What's the difference between? I've only seen the theatrical cut.
it, now I bet you've seen the unrated. Like,
Really?
okay, the scene where like I want to say the scene we were talking about with Murphy is a lot more violent, a lot more like graphic.
I mean, it was
Um,
intense. I remember.
but then the scene where the where Ed 209
Yep.
blows that guy away,
Yeah.
it goes on and on and on. It goes
Yeah.
on for way longer in the unrated cut or in the
Really.
NC-17 cut. Yeah.
I mean, I remember that. I remember sitting there watching that for the first time, being like, it's still going on. And I was 11.
That's
I mean,
so
it's an
awesome.
awesome scene. I love it. But
Dude,
yeah,
I grew up on RoboCop. I didn't see RoboCop 1 until I was in high school
yeah.
because I grew up on RoboCop 3.
That's so
And
weird.
because it was like the only one I taped it off TV. And I was like, I was like, yeah, this one's cool. I mean, I didn't grow up loving RoboCop
Right.
until I got to high school because I was like, yeah, RoboCop's cool, I guess. He's got a jetpack, but whatever. And then like when I saw RoboCop 1, I was like, oh no, this
Yeah.
is a fucking masterpiece.
Okay. That's cool that you were able to, backtrack and appreciate, because a lot of people will say, like, people who grew up and saw uh Ghostbusters 2 was their first,
Yeah.
they say that Ghostbusters 2 is the better of the two, and obviously they're wrong.
Right.
Um,
Well, the difference here is that like RoboCop 3 is a bad movie and RoboCop 1
right.
is awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but there's also people like, that think 2 is like a piece of shit or not RoboCop 2, Ghostbuster 2 is like a piece of shit. And I'm like,
I mean, Ghostbusters 2 is awesome,
yeah,
but
it's
it's
awesome.
not, but
It's
nothing compared to.
yeah, but what
Yeah,
is like, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
they've,
yeah.
you know,
I had a Ghostbusters reference in the movie or something that popped in my head. We'll talk about later. Yeah, that's cool, man. Do you have any? Did you think? I mean, San Diego Comic Con this year was a dud, right?
well, a lot of
For the
them,
most part.
yeah. Well, the
I
one of
know
the
the
reasons,
strike and all that shit.
no, I think a lot of it is that like, well, Disney owns everything,
Yeah,
and they're not everything, but they own a lot of the shit, and they
they're doing
don't
like
announce
D23,
anything.
right?
Yeah, they have their own convention, and
Right.
same with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has their own thing, so they don't
What does
bring
Warner
it.
Brothers have?
They have like I don't know, it's called like they might not even do it anymore, but I know for a couple of years they're doing like a DC day or whatever it was,
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
and it was like a big day where they would announce all their shit
I remember that. Yeah.
because then they could schedule it around their stockholders, like like
Totally. Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
so a lot of
That's
people don't
weird.
bring as much cool stuff to it,
I just feel like San Diego Comic Con is going to become just like wrestling and artist alley,
like every other con.
kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately. Anyway, do you have any other news?
Yeah, this is
Oh,
actual
this is just the bad
movie news.
news.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I haven't watched it yet, but
All right.
the trailer for David Gordon Green's Exorcist,
Yeah. Fuck off, man.
and
I didn't watch it. I heard it was out.
it's not. I didn't. It's not even a remake. It's there.
Yeah.
It's like Halloween, where it's the first movie happened.
Yep.
I'm sure Exorcist 2 and Exorcist 3 didn't happen. It's the same thing where it's 40 years later. It's a different person getting possessed. Like what
Right.
it's
Well,
and it's already got a sequel like greenlit.
was his Halloween franchise? Did they make money? They probably
Yeah, they
made
made a
money.
ton of money.
Yeah. Okay. And that's the only reason he's getting that. I mean, those, we've beat those to death, definitely. But I saw a snippet of an interview with him, or I read, where he said, we're not doing what we did with Halloween, where we just ignored, where we said that two and the rest didn't happen, only count number one. He said in our universe for The Exorcist, they all happen, they all exist, but we're ignoring them. And I'm like, okay, so you are doing the exact same thing,
Yeah.
Ron.
I mean, you can do, the difference is though, you can do that with 2 is like nothing happens in 2. Like I don't want to say nothing happens in 2. Like a lot
Right.
happens in 2, but like you would it's not crazy that they wouldn't refer to it if they're only dealing with the exorcism. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then 3 is a different case altogether.
Right.
3 is awesome. If
I know. I
you know,
know. Three is the
but
one, like 1 and 3, people say, I think the general consensus skip 2, whatever. But
yeah, I've only seen 2 once, and I wasn't that into it.
right.
Uh,
I just
but
don't understand why. I get it. They're in it to make money, but the guy's not a good movie maker. He's not a good writer.
I'll tell you, man, he used to make these amazing movies, man. This is like, to me, this fucking guy is like Michael Jordan playing baseball. He's there's this guy used to make these really amazing like indie dramas that nobody makes anymore, and he
Yeah.
was like amazing. He did at least 5 or 6 movies that were genuinely excellent movies,
Like
and then he just
remains of the day with Anthony Hopkins or something like that.
I mean, he did these like little like he did one called All the Real Girls. He did another one called Snow Angels. He did a movie with Paul Rudd called like Prince Avalanche that was like it was okay.
I've never heard of any of those.
Yeah, they're little indies, man. You know, they made him for like $1 million, and
Is that racist? Little indies? I don't know.
but
Yeah, this
he
guy
was really great at them, man. And
Yeah.
now he just
Stay in your lane. I hate that phrase, but it's like you fucking suck at horror movies. Get out of here.
yeah, these are terrible, man. They're really really bad.
Fortunately, I'm not a huge Exorcist fan anyway. I can acknowledge that the first is one of the greatest of all time. Yes, but it's not one I go back to.
I go back to it all the time. I love
you?
the original
Yeah.
Exorcist,
Sure.
but like to me too, like I've been not burned on sequels for The
Uh-oh.
Exorcist, but like
Another burn.
they've already done like prequels and tried to do like other spin-off. Like it's a Jaws situation where it's like, I mean,
Now you just hold on there. All of the Jaws movies are excellent.
I do like all. Well, four is stupid, but it's not as bad as people say.
It's a stupid premise, but it's still good.
4, I mean, it's watchable. 4 is watchable.
Yeah.
2 is solid. 3 isn't bad either. I mean,
3D, man. Dennis Quaid. Get out of here.
SeaWorld.
Yeah. SeaWorld. Yeah.
3 actually is a little underrated. I mean, but it's
I think it is.
same as Ghostbusters, where they're not one, but
I'm surprised. Jaws 2 is a great movie, man.
but it's the Ghostbusters thing. It's overshadowed because the first one is one of the best movies of all time.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just 2's good.
It's good.
No Hooper. That's a bummer.
No
but,
Hooper. Sure. No Shaw. What else you got?
Yeah, that's it. Basically, these Exorcist sequels, by the way. So it's supposed to be a trilogy. The names of them are Exorcist Believer, and the next one is called Exorcist Deceiver. The third one, I guess, is going to be called
What a dickhead. Receiver.
Yeah,
Exorcist receiver.
It's gonna be about football players.
Oh man. You know what? I know we said like when we were doing Halloween and the final one, whatever. I hope that somebody comes in and goes, because they'll do another Halloween movie and it won't be David Gordon Green. And I just hope that they come in and they go, yeah, we're ignoring the David Gordon Green ones, I hope that happens. And I hope it's said in like publicly said. I hope someone does that.
I think they'll do the Rob Zombie route where it's just we're just gonna remake it. And we'll recast Laurie Strode and do another I mean, I was thinking about with these Terrifier movies, that's basically, I mean, they're like Jason movies, except that he tortures people more than Jason, but like it's basically the same thing where it's just like, here's our guy, he's just gonna run around and kill people until they stop him from doing that. Like,
It's interesting. I don't see any connection between the two, but Kevin's also making his way through Terrifier 2 right now. So
I'm about halfway through it.
All right, so let's save it. We'll save it for a rainy day. I got just a couple tidbits of news. I don't know if it's tied to San Diego or whatever, but they put out the Daryl Dixon trailer spinoff from Walking Dead, like another spinoff. So they've got the Maggie Negan one that's going on now. That'll wrap up. They'll launch the Daryl Dixon one. That'll wrap up, and then there's the Rick Michonne one. So it's never ending. But the Maggie Negan show, I watched the trailer, the pilot or the first episode, and I was just like, more of the same. This is garbage. And I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, but the Daryl Dixon trailer and what's his name?
The
Norman
actor?
Reedus. Yeah,
Norman
Norman
Reedus, yeah.
Reedus. Like, he's awesome, and
Yeah, I like yeah.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's awesome, but he's kind of one note. But Norman Reedus is great, and that character of Daryl Dixon is the closest thing to Rick that that show ever had, or closest thing to a lead that the show had. The trailer looks really good because it looks like something like they're trying something different. So I hope that it is. The other trailer I saw was, do you ever watch the Kenneth Branagh, his Poirot? You know what I'm saying? The detective who's the uh
Oh, like Jewel on the Nile and
Jewel, yeah, and
um
the train one,
Murder on the Orient
Orient
Express.
Express. So he's the new one is called Haunting in Venice, and it's like a straight up horror movie. And
Okay.
he's playing the same detective. Trailer looks all right. I mean, I haven't. I'd like to watch those movies, but I definitely want to see this one, horror based
Yeah.
detective
And
doings.
I've heard they're really good.
He's an awesome director.
I think the other two, I think the first two were already movies,
They were
and
well, they were and they were books,
they're books first,
right?
but they had already been adapted.
You're right.
I don't think this new one's been adapted.
I don't think
Because
so.
there's a shitload of these
Yeah,
books.
yeah. That character. That's this. I'm pretty sure that's the same character that isn't that the same character that Johnny Depp plays in Kevin Smith's sausage movie? What's that one called?
Oh, yoga hosers?
Yeah. Isn't that the same? He plays the
I
same
don't think
character.
so. I mean,
I thought it was.
I think he's got his own like name. I mean, he's like a
I could
detective.
be wrong, but I think it's the same guy. And then also, I don't know when they came out, but the Emmy nominations, I somehow saw them and whatever, and it was interesting to see, amongst other things, that Kenobi was nominated for five
For what?
Emmys. It's nominated for best drama show. Oh my god! It's also nominated for like there's no acting nominations, but all the typical like visual effects and all that shit, sound. But Andor is also nominated, which I think that deserves. Stranger Things season 4 is only nominated for like 2 things, and they're really ridiculously nothing. That I'm surprised if Kenobi makes it into drama as a nominee. Why isn't Stranger Things? That was awesome.
Because Disney owns everything. Like those awards are bought and paid for.
Yeah.
Like they're essentially an advertisement. Like they're not. There's no purity in these awards anymore. They're all the.
I know. I don't give a shit, but I don't know
like,
what made me find them. But speaking of Disney, also Simpsons, this year's Simpsons Treehouse of Horror was nominated for an Emmy this year. So that was
I don't
cool.
know if did I watch it this year? I don't remember.
Apparently it's a good one. I don't know, maybe not.
They always say that though. I mean, maybe it is.
That's also Disney though. So if your hypothesis is correct,
I mean, do you remember like that was I used to watch the Golden Globes just because it was hilarious because it was so obviously bought and paid. Like it was just,
but it was also entertaining. Usually you'd have Ricky Gervais or
once Ricky Gervais started doing it, it was awesome. I remember I had like people over to watch it the first year, and it was like, what is he doing? Holy shit, this is amazing! And then I think he did it 3 times, and it was like, holy cow, man, he's just the best. I mean. But he was
the Oscars in the 80s were awesome. Billy Crystal and all that shit.
In the 90s, they were good.
90s, they were decent. Yeah.
You know, it was just.
Now I wish I wish that place would just explode. I don't know. It's so ridiculous.
It really is, man. It's sad.
That's all I got for news. Did you have any what'd you watches this week?
Not really. I watched one movie that was not a horror movie, but it was pretty close. It was called Detachment. It came out in like 2011. It's Adrian Brody, and it's like it's like a teacher movie, you know, like you know how like there's 900 like Dangerous Minds clones.
Sure, yeah.
Well, most of the times I like those, and I watched this one, and this one it was just like let's just inject the most like every scene is the most depressing shit ever. It's like he's in this school where everybody's just a mean, awful person, and then he goes and he has to take care of his like grandpa who has dementia, and then he has to like then he meets this like 14-year-old hooker. Like every scene is just like Jesus Christ, man. Like it's just the whole movie. Every scene is just bummer after bummer after bummer.
Yeah, that sucks. Adrian Brody
Yeah.
took a dive after the penis.
I like that dude, man. I'll watch him to be in fucking anything.
His Predator movie isn't bad.
I
I
like his
think.
Predator movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his Predator movie's good.
I would say well, I like Predator 2. Besides
Yeah.
Predator 2, it's the best Predator sequel.
Prey was fucking awesome.
I know, I like it better than Prey though.
Really,
Yeah.
dude. Prey is one of my top movies. Top 20, top 30, 50, something like that. I watched. I forgot to. I don't think I mentioned this last week, but Svengoolie had like 3 weeks ago he had Ghoulies on, and then
Yeah.
the next week, which would have been 2 weeks ago, he had Ghoulies 2,
Yeah.
which I had never seen. And you and I did Ghoulies, like I think season 1 or 2 on this show.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Ghoulies 2?
Nope.
So there's 4 of them, and remember the main guy in the first one with the wizard? He had it was the guy, he was the
Yeah.
main guy, and he had, remember those contacts he had that they couldn't control, and
Yeah.
they hurt his eyes and shit. So that guy comes back in the fourth one, which I'd like to see. But Ghoulies 2 was like, I didn't enjoy it. It was weird. It felt, it takes place in a carnival, and like there's no rhyme or reason for the Ghoulies really to be back, but they do. And the effects are cool because it's the first time they actually show the Ghoulies walking, and it's stop
Stop
motion,
motion.
which is kind of cool. But as a movie, it's like, I mean, it's not terrible, and whatever, but it was weird. But then also this past Friday, Joe Bob had his season finale.
Mm-hmm.
For season 5 of The Last Drive-In on Shudder. Reach out, Shudder. We'll make a thing happen. It was awesome, man. The theme was zombies. He always does a double feature, and the theme was zombies. The first movie, I can't remember the name, but it was a British zombie movie from '74, and it was made by this Spanish guy, and he intentionally kind of aped Romero's Night of the Living Dead. But he did some like new stuff in it. The zombies weren't like, there wasn't like a ton of zombie makeup, but it was really cool, his take on it. Great movie. And then the second feature was Day of the Dead, Romero. So the third
Yeah.
part 3,
Yeah, that's awesome.
it's awesome. I've always loved that movie, and it's got arguably the best Tom Savini effects
Yeah,
ever.
I would say so. Out of all yeah.
Like, you remember the one where the dude's screaming and they rip his throat apart, and his scream keeps going higher and higher as they rip through his vocal cords. It's bananas.
Oh man, you made me want to watch it. I haven't seen
Yeah.
it in a while, and
It's so good.
there was a period where I liked it better than Dawn of the Dead, to be honest.
I might like it, but I think Dawn of the Dead is more fun. It's as far as the 3 go, it's lighter because you get like the bikers coming through and weird shit like that. This one's really dark.
Yeah,
it's place
Day of the Dead's really
underground.
dark. It's in the bunker and everything, right? Yeah.
But he also had on the show, he had the chick, the black guy who's the helicopter pilot, and the Irish guy. So the 3 main actors. He had him on the show and was talking with him. It was great, man. It was great to see them, that they're still like alive and well and doing stuff and whatever. But it was awesome. I fucking love Joe Bob, man. It's a great show. And since it was the finale, they did a bit at the end as he closed it out with a song. He sang a song, and they had him in the ground, the camera above him. He was like laying. They did the gag where his head's up and the body is fake,
Mm-hmm.
and these zombies came in while he was singing and just ripped him apart. And
That's
like
awesome.
blood was going everywhere while he's singing. It was awesome. It was really cool. And they're doing like a panel together, Joe Bob, Darcy, and Svengoolie at the HorrorCon. We need to get our tickets.
Yeah, we got to go to that.
We should do that tonight. But yeah,
it's in like 2 weeks, isn't it?
I know.
Shit.
We'll talk about it at the end of the show.
Yeah,
but,
we got to take a look at that.
That's what I got. Should we get into this this classic? This called classic?
Yeah.
You ready for this?
Let's do it.
Cue the Winged Serpent. You ready? 1982. So directed by Larry Cohen, first of all.
Yeah, right.
Right? The stuff. If you look at his IMDb, the dude wrote so much classic stuff, like the whole Maniac Cop series. What's the one? It's called It's Alive. It's a trilogy about a couple that has a mutant baby. I haven't seen those, but I want to. I looked them up today. They look awesome. Uncle Sam.
Yeah. Uncle
Salem's
Sam.
Lot.
Yep.
which is phenomenal. The Stuff I already mentioned, which is great. We did that season 2, I think. Yeah. So Larry Cohen. Then you got his muse, Michael Moriarty, aka Mo Rutherford from The Stuff. You
Oh
remember Mo?
yeah,
Come on,
that's I
man.
was trying to place him, man.
It's
I was
Mo,
like,
dude.
who I knew I knew him, but I
It's
couldn't
Mo from The
place him.
Stuff, dude. David Carradine and Richard Roundtree as the hard-boiled
Yeah, the cop.
detective duo, and
Hmm.
then Candy Clark, the chick. She's been in so much stuff, but I didn't look her up. I should have. Shame on me. But yeah, that's the cast. Box office or budget of 1.1 million, box office of 255,000. So it lost a shitload of money, which I understand. I totally understand. But dude, I really liked this movie.
I knew you would.
I knew
This is
you'd say you knew. I knew you'd say that. Did you not like it?
It's not even like it. I
Yeah,
was like, it was all over the place.
it was
It was like,
because it had the two storylines that they were trying to bring together of the creature killing people
yeah,
and then the
there were murders going on too,
the
though.
serial killer murder guy,
Right.
which they were connected, but the movie didn't really do a good job of that until the end. But for what I thought, I can see why it didn't make money, and I can see why it's it's a cult. It is considered like a cult classic, but it's not on the top of a lot of people's lists, and I understand why. But for what it was, I thought it was awesome. I mean, I'll take practical effects, and the creature was totally stop motion,
Yeah.
and they'd like just wave things in front of the camera, like his legs when he'd fly by.
Or
You
I
know,
mean, they used a lot of effects that were like pretty janky, man.
but man, explain to me at the end when they're all on it's the Empire State Building, right?
it's Chrysler Building.
Chrysler Building. Okay.
Yeah.
When they're on that building and they're all shooting at him as he's flying by, I thought that looked awesome because the bullet trail, you got
Yeah.
these little guys on the top of the Chrysler Building, and you've
Yeah.
got this thing flying around it, and I guess the little guys were also stop motion clay people, maybe.
Yeah. There's a few shots where it's pretty obvious,
But it looks,
but
it is obvious. You're right, and when he, but
I
it
mean,
still
and
looks
I'm not
cool.
saying that's
You know what I'm
bad.
saying?
I
Yeah,
I like that. I like being able to see the effect, and I like fun little like
yeah.
there's a part where it's a photo of the. Did you catch that shot where it's a photo of the Chrysler Building and then the thing lands on it? But
Oh
like
yeah,
they did like the stop motion. They filmed the stop motion on a green screen and then
right,
just like put it on and then green screened in the like a photo of the front of the Chrysler,
right.
and it just was like, oh, that's a photo, man. Like
Yeah,
that's no way that's a model,
which
you know.
I'm surprised they didn't go with matte paintings, but I don't think they did anywhere. I didn't notice.
No, I didn't see any map. I mean, they had a lot of helicopter shots,
Right,
and the only reason that shot stuck out so much is because almost every other shot was a helicopter shot. So
right.
like the camera was moving around, and then all of a sudden there's this flat,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
just clearly photograph,
yeah.
But
I loved though that in that scene and there was a couple other times where the creature would grab someone and just toss them, and
yeah,
it was clearly like another stop motion figure. But it
yeah,
reminded me of that scene. Every time I see that stuff, the scene in RoboCop when Ronnie Cox, what's his name, the villain in RoboCop, the CEO.
oh, when he falls out of the window at
Yeah,
the end
but
with the arms.
yeah, with his arms and stuff. I
I
I
what
love
is
that
up with
shot.
that?
It looks fucked up, but I love
But
that shot.
I've always wondered, and I know I've been told and knew why at some point why the hell his arms look like that.
I'm pretty sure it's because his body is a stop motion piece of clay, and his head is Ronnie Cox's head, like
Like
superimposed,
superimposed. But
right?
then why are his arms so long?
Because that's just how the artist. Because if you look at the stuff that I'm talking about here, like when Richard Roundtree, which is hilarious,
That
because
was great.
he gets a kite to the face, and he's like, oh, get this, he thinks he's being attacked. He literally, as soon as he like takes it off his face, the actual creature then comes in and like grabs him, and tosses him into the air. You all right? Are you dying?
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of the many. There were a bunch of
And
laugh out loud moments.
yeah, it was hilarious. But when they show him, the camera like backs out and they show Richard Roundtree's body flying through the air.
Yeah.
It's clearly like a claymation stop motion guy. But I loved it, and that's why I say, like, for what this movie is, it's awesome. That kind of stuff. And I don't know what year that King Kong with Jeff Bridges came out. It was like,
I think it was 78 or
yeah,
79.
This has that flavor,
Sure.
because Kong in that was a dude in a suit, but when they showed him, there were scenes where people were stop motioned, and it was like supposed to be a big budget creature effects movie, and this kind of has that. But I made a note of all the kills, which because there's some gruesome stuff in here, for what it,
yeah,
The first one though, I thought that was hilarious. The
they
washer,
like they have like a montage in the beginning of just like this thing killing people. Like the first like 5 minutes is just we're just gonna show him kill a window washer, and then we're gonna
the window washer though, because he's like, you get the backstory in just 30 seconds of like, he was cleaning windows, saw this hot chick in there, and now he keeps coming back to clean that same window.
Yeah.
And he thinks that she likes it, but then we get her perspective of it. And she's like, this motherfucker, back. Like he won't leave me alone. And then all of a sudden it's just like snatched, the thing rips off his head, and then it's like this bloody like body up against the window. I love that. It was,
I mean, I'll tell you what too, man. Like, you know how we were talking about with Terrifier last week, where I was like, I don't know about this movie. And then like the saw her in half scene, I was like,
yeah,
all right, you got me. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm in.
Yeah.
That was this scene. I was like, all right, what do we got? And then like when that thing bit his head off and it was just like a dummy squirting blood, I'm like, all right, I'm in. Let's see what you got, movie.
And then he goes and like, there's the one where like, I forget which person it is, but where he, like, body parts are flying out of the air, but it's more just blood and it's falling on people's clothes, and the dude's like, what the fuck is this? Like,
oh yeah,
it's on his shirt.
Dozens of people just, what the fuck is this shit? Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's the other thing that was really funny, was that like it's in New York, and like I don't, you would see, someone would see this thing, you know what I mean? Like people live in buildings there, and it's,
they do say though at the, like, towards the end, more people do see it, but somebody says like that it's meticulous in its flight pattern, that it stays in the view of the sun, so that if you look up, there's a glare,
Oh, that makes
somebody
sense.
says that, and it's like, oh, okay, well, you just explained why nobody's seeing this giant fucking flying dragon living in New York, which I love. Like, I love that though. I love that I like origins, but we don't really get one other than loosely tied to Aztec magic, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Because at the end, they destroy it has an egg that it's protecting and whatever, and they destroy it. But then the tag on the end is that there's another egg somewhere. So it's like, did the egg just manifest through this magic, or are there dragons living around that nobody sees?
No, I mean, it could have laid egg. I took it as it laid multiple eggs in multiple buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to talk about the cast, man, or the characters even? David Carradine was great.
He was.
I mean, he was good. I would have liked James Woods to be like James Woods, I think, could have done this a little better, but David Carradine was serviceable. He was pretty good.
Yeah.
I love that he writes up a whole report. Like, he's like, okay, I think it's this winged like serpent god that's doing this,
right.
And goes to the library, writes up this giant report, and then hands it into his boss. His boss is like, hey man, I like you, so I'm gonna do you a favor, and I'm gonna throw this in the fucking garbage. And he's like, and he's all mad about it. And it's like, we're not gonna say we're gonna say it's a giant bird, because it's a giant. What are you doing? I thought that was great.
I had in my notes that I literally wrote, David Carradine hates this movie because at the beginning he's phoning
this movie.
He's phoning it in, but I think that as I got the feeling that definitely as the movie went on, and probably as the filming went on, because by the end he gets to put like a cool jacket on. He's got a submachine gun. He's like ordering people around. He's up in a tower
Yeah,
shooting. Like he definitely, by the time he sits down with Mo in the diner, which is a great scene,
yeah.
I think he's in, because I think in that scene he gets some dialogue, and then after that, when they go after the creature, he's got some action. And so by the end, I wrote another note that's like that literally says David Carradine loves this movie, because he gets him more into it, I think, as the
He
movie
does
goes
once they
on.
give him machine gun and stuff, and like he's having a little fun, but he was also like, yeah, he was fine.
Yeah.
He was good. It was weird that like you had all these cops that weren't really. I don't. It felt like Shaft was doing his thing. You know what I mean? I got that
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Richard Roundtree
Yeah.
Shaft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but like
I
Shaft is
totally
doing his
forgot that
thing,
for a minute. I was like, he is Shaft.
and then you know, and then yeah, David Carradine's doing this completely other thing. You know what I
Right.
mean? They're not like really partners. And then like right before, right at the end, Richard Roundtree gets this like mime partner,
Yeah.
like that.
With an Amadeus shirt on.
Yeah, like it was just
What
kind of
is that?
like
Why does he team up with the mime? That's so weird.
I think it was an undercover. Was it even? No, it wasn't even an undercover cop, right?
He
It was just
was. He was.
It was, yeah.
He's the guy that at the end he's with Carradine in uniform.
Okay,
Yeah. And he gets killed.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I gotta tell you too, like I mean, Michael Moriarty, man, I couldn't place like the whole time. I'm like, oh, what do I know him from? And
Yeah.
now I know it's this stuff.
Yeah.
But then halfway through, I'm like, you know what? You know what it is? He's like a way fair version of Bill Burr. Like
Sure. I
if
can
they
see that.
remade this today,
I
you
can see
put
that.
James Woods in Carradine's part, and you put Bill Burr as that guy. You got a movie, man.
I was thinking, this is something you could remake. And I think if they did, they would lean more into the serial killer aspect and have the creature be more of like something that's doing his bidding.
Well,
Um,
or even like, yeah, like
you
keep
know?
it or do it like where, hey, we're finding these skinned bodies, or we're finding like and make it seem like it's a serial killer the whole time. And then at the end, there's a fucking dragon. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the big surprise is, oh,
Yeah.
this guy, oh, he's trying to bring back this like weird like dragon god
Right.
and make it like a Seven type movie. And then at the end have, yeah, oh wow, he brought back this giant dragon. Like that. That's how you
Totally.
do it.
Totally.
But yeah, man, this it's just like,
Dude,
man,
Mo
what
at
a
the
weird character, right?
weird,
Like,
really weird. Well, this is 3 years before the stuff. And in the stuff, he's like a really good leading man. In this, he's a total buffoon, but it's like, and he
but he's
plays
all
it.
over the
He's
place.
all over the place. But man,
Is he a scumbag? Is he
yeah,
like a good guy? Is he a coward? Is he like? And you
yeah,
have all these scenes. Like, there's a really long scene of him like negotiating with the police on like where to fucking like
yeah,
find this
making his
thing,
deal.
and then like, which I enjoyed the scene, like, because I'm into
Yeah,
the movie at that point. But it was also like, wasn't this about like a murder, like a murder, like it's like
yeah,
mystery, and we're like finding this thing, and yeah, his he was a weird because I would consider him the lead of this movie, like,
sure. Yeah, he is.
but like
He is.
he was just like I said, he was such a sleazeball, but like
Right. But he
not in.
wanted he wanted to do the right thing. He didn't want to use guns. He didn't want to be involved in the robbery that he was in,
That's the other thing, yeah. Like to have this guy that's like he's a dirtbag, like
He's a
he's doing all
dirtbag.
these really
Yeah.
shady things, but then like he draws the line at guns. He's like, no, I don't want that. Like
But we've seen characters
he's
like
more like
that
afraid.
before.
I would say he's more afraid of guns than that he
Yeah.
yeah, he doesn't because yeah, people keep trying to give him guns this whole
Right.
movie. And he's
Right.
like, no,
It's like, why
man.
does everybody give me guns? At the
And
end,
that
he's
was
like,
that's the other weird thing about this ending is like, he makes this plea deal with them with the cops, being like, I know where to find this thing. And they bring him up there and they just find the egg and they blow the egg away with machine
Jesus
guns.
Christ, man, that was rough.
That's insane.
The baby hatches right when they are there, and like they just blow the shit out of it.
Well, but even before it hatches, they just start blowing.
Oh
Like
yeah,
David
that's
Carradine
why
goes
it
up there and
hatches.
he just
Right.
unloads his machine gun
Yeah.
into it.
He's like, you guys stay down there. I'm gonna start shooting the shit out of this thing.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Shooting the shit out. That's
Yeah.
what these guys
Yeah.
love to do.
Yeah.
How many times did they just shoot like civilian, not civilians, but like people that weren't any threat to them, just
Yeah.
blow away these
Dude,
people.
the one guy goes, you remember
He
when,
came
well,
at me.
yeah, he says it twice. He's like, he came at me, like trying to justify like his first shooting as a cop. It was hilarious.
There was a lot of that, but we'll get to my favorite one in a minute. But then okay, so they get up there and they do the thing. Then after that whole, I mean, 20 minutes of the movie is Moriarty like working out his terms
Yeah.
about like, no, I want $1 million and I want the rights to the photos and I want this and I want this. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll give it to you.
Right.
And then he's got to go out to lunch with Carradine while all the paperwork's like being signed. I thought that
Right.
was going to be like a thing, like they're going to fuck him over. But what? It was literally just, yeah, we got to get the lawyers
Well,
involved.
well, that scene though, I think that's the best scene in the movie.
It was a good scene,
Because
but it was
Carradine
kind of
did it
unnecessary.
well, but no, I think it's absolutely necessary because Carradine, like you were saying, he's asking for $1 million to take them to where the lair is, where the
Mhm.
creature lives. He wants all this stuff. He wants the rights. He wants immunity, all this shit. But Carradine, this is where Carradine turns into like a really interesting character. Because when he sits, he's like, let me take you out to coffee, he tells him. And he's like, they go to the thing, they sit down, and Carradine intentionally gets him talking. And Mo is like getting ready to spill his guts as to where, because he already says, he's like, oh, it's in a tall building, is it? He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, what kind of building? Do you even know? And he's like, it's got a dome on it. And like right there, he's about to give it away. And then Richard Roundtree, Shaft is over there watching the whole thing go down. And they intentionally cut to him and he's like smiles and shakes his head because he knows what Carradine's doing. And Carradine's just getting him talking intentionally so that he can give away where the creature lives. And then he can be like, hey, we don't have to give you $1 million. You just told me where
Right.
it is. I think that scene is very intentional. And
All right.
but Roundtree for some reason
Comes in
walks
and fucks
in
the whole thing
and
up.
fucks
Yeah.
the whole thing up before and then Mo even says, man, if he hadn't walked in, I almost told you where it was. Like he says that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great scene.
But then, yeah, it was an entertaining scene. But then, like, oh man, yeah, I didn't. But then after the scene where they find the egg and like blow the shit out of it,
yeah,
like up until that point, they're like not even Carradine, who's like pretty convinced that it's like this dragon thing. This,
right.
like they're all kind of not sure. You know what I mean? And he, so they go up there, they find this thing, this giant like dragon egg, and then you have a scene with Carradine telling him like, "Hey, you're not going to get any money because the money was for the bird for the dragon,
mom.
not the
Yeah.
baby."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Bullshit." He's like, "Yeah, we'll see." It's a whole it's like a 5-minute scene of that,
Yeah.
which doesn't. We don't even know if he gets the money. I assume he does because they don't really come back to it because then they just
I don't think he
go.
does.
Then they I forget how, but they figure out that he's in another building, and then they just go blow the shit out of it with machine guns.
Right.
Like,
Right.
and then
It,
the movie's over.
it's insane. But I do like, I mean, I don't think he gets the money, but we see after the whole thing's over, he's in that new apartment or hotel room, and there's a knock at the door. I was like, oh, that's going to be Carradine with a briefcase of money, just to put a happy ending on this. Instead, it's the serial killer who like goes in
Okay,
and
who
tries
is
to take
this?
him out.
Who is this actor, the serial killer?
Yeah, he was vaguely familiar. I don't know. I mean, we could look him up, but
I want to look him up, but
Yeah.
yeah. By the way, all the scenes before this with the serial killer, like when he's like sacrificing people,
Yeah.
that looked like that helmet was awesome, or whatever the hell that mask that he was wearing.
Yeah. There's an episode of Kolchak where it's got a similar storyline with the Aztec priest and a zombie and all this shit. And it's like they nailed it. I feel like in the late 70s, early 80s, this was like stuff that they wanted to use. and they were good at doing it because you see that pop up a lot. But yeah, those scenes were great. So the dude shows up though at his apartment, and it's, and then Carradine somehow knows that that's where everything's going down as well, and shows up, and it's like just comes in and like just starts shooting the guy,
Yeah.
again.
Oh, wait. Yeah, let's talk about that. That was great. Shoots him in the back of the head.
Right.
Because it was a pretty tense scene. That was the other weird thing. He comes in, he puts a knife to Moriarty's neck,
Right.
and is like, all right. He starts telling him, like, say the prayer to the whatever, the serpent god. And he's like, I'm not doing it. And he goes, you have to, like, and I can't kill you unless you do it. He goes, well, I'm not doing it.
Oh,
it's
okay,
not even
in that
like
case.
It's not even like, if I don't say it, he can't kill me. It's like he's just like, no, fuck you. I'm not saying any prayers. I wouldn't say prayers when I was, when priests would tell me, or when he's like, fuck you, I'm not doing it. And then David Carradine comes in and shoots this guy in the back of the head. And it's like, okay, well, that's that. And then the guy just keeps getting up, and Carradine just keeps shooting him. Like, it's not even like the guy keeps getting up and like gets the drop on him or jumps out.
Right.
Carradine he must shoot this guy like 6 times.
And he's telling jokes the whole time. He's telling jokes the whole time. And he keeps looking at Mo like, you get this guy over here? Can you believe this guy over here keeps getting up and like keeps shooting him? I thought that was awesome. It was a great ending, because then after finally he kills the guy, they have this moment of like, they've reached an understanding and everything's great and whatever. And he's like, Carradine's like, let me take you back to your woman. He's like, nah, man, I'm not going to go see her until I get a job. And Carradine's like, kind of like, oh, look at you, and then they kind of go their separate ways. I was hoping for my freeze frame, but we didn't get it.
Yeah, it was close. I was thinking,
because they did the egg after that, the second egg. But I like that ending, man. I like that Mo grew up. He had an arc, Mo grew up by the end, and Carradine enjoyed his job by the end, or was glad he was in the movie by the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird that all of a sudden, like, they're getting along real well.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing. He was like, how'd you find, because when Carradine comes in to kill the guy,
yeah,
he was like, how'd you find me? He goes, oh, I went to every sleazy motel in the city.
I missed that. You really?
And it was like, wait, what? You knew he was going to get a hotel, and you knew it would be what? How did that work? And you went to every one in the city? Like, what are you talking about, man?
Dude, that's what like 80s cops did. They just like, they were thorough. Did you catch during the scene where they're blasting the shit out of the creature on top of the Chrysler Building? There's the scene where like they think it's over, and then it busts through and almost gets Carradine.
Yeah.
Did you catch where like, and then they shoot at it some more and it goes away? Carradine's standing there with like an older cop, and they exchange these two lines, and all Carradine goes, he looks at him, he goes,
it's big.
No, he just says big. And the other guy goes, yeah. It's like, cut. But Carradine's face, that's when I knew he was having fun. He was
Carradine's face, that whole scene is hilarious. Just like he does, he knows because he doesn't know what this thing looks like.
Right.
So he's just up there like pretending to shoot,
Yeah, absolutely.
But he was having fun. Like, that was, everybody was all over the place. Like, Moriarty was like a dirtbag, but then he wasn't, all this stuff. And then Carradine, yeah, he's like this hard-nosed detective, but he's also like having a blast with his machine gun, like laughing, and it was really like right after Richard Roundtree just got eaten.
Yeah, nobody gave a shit about Shaft, man. After he died, wild. It was just like, it wasn't even mentioned. But talk about having fun, dude. How about Mo at the piano?
That was the first time I laughed my ass off, was when he goes,
oh my god, that was a great scene, dude.
He comes in, plays the piano like a psycho.
10 minutes for like 10
minutes. He's auditioning to be the piano player, and I loved that. Was great. Is the way the bartender, or the owner of the bar, seemingly tells him to fuck off, is he goes over and just turns on the jukebox.
Right.
And like,
he actually had, like, he was actually singing and playing.
Yeah.
And he had like a good like jazz voice and feel for the piano, but he just, man,
like, I wouldn't hire that guy. The guy came in like a bull in a china shop, just being like,
totally.
Yeah,
But he was
like
like,
his attitude right off the bat, I'd be like, no, no way am I hiring you.
he took like scat to the like nth degree while he was playing the piano. I thought it was hilarious.
But then, so then he's playing. He turns in the jukebox. He goes, "All right, I'll take a hint, whatever." And he walks out. And David Carradine's sitting at the bar, and he goes, "I thought you sounded good." He goes, "What the fuck do you know?" And
Which is awesome because that's the last scene that's the last
oh
line
yeah,
in the
that's the
movie
last
too.
line in the movie. But I thought it was hilarious that
Yeah.
like it's like what kind of a response is that?
Yeah,
Like,
totally. It was awesome. Somebody pays you a compliment and he's like, the fuck do you know?
yeah,
Like it's like,
exactly.
but I think that was like, I think that was a sample of Moe's sense of humor. Like he had a sense of humor about himself. Like clearly he didn't get the job. The guy was like, fuck off. And so he was like, I think that was his way of taking a compliment. It's a great line. It is a
That
great line. And
yeah,
where it's a great placed line too.
the burglars too, they really drove me nuts because like nothing bugs me more than when you're watching like a heist movie or like a robbery in a movie and the guys are being like someone in the crew is being like unprofessional.
Yeah.
Like I like for everybody to be on the same page and knowing what because that's how you would have to do that, right?
Right.
But like yeah, I love Reservoir Dogs, but like when I don't hate the movie, I love the movie, but I always hate Mr. White when he's like, "Hey, what are we doing with these names?" and just is gonna tell him the name. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like,
Right.
and that's with these guys. It was driving like they had his whole job is he's the getaway driver,
Right.
and they're like they tell him you got to come in and rob
Right.
the place with it, and he's like, "No, I'm not. I'm staying in the car. Why would I? I'm the you don't have your getaway driver in the robbery with you. The whole point of him is so that he can hit the gas as soon as you get in the car.
The getaway driver gets shot and you're screwed. Not that anybody else couldn't drive, but it's like,
Right. And they take the keys away from him
right. Yeah.
and leave. It was by the way, it was a Quado from Ace Ventura.
What?
It was one the one burglar or the one like mobster guy.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was the detective that gets killed in Ace Ventura.
Dude, when was the last time you saw Ace Ventura?
Not that long ago.
I think I saw it when it came out.
What?
Yeah.
You haven't seen Ace Ventura in
30.
30 years. It came out
Probably.
in 93.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time. It's been a
Oh
long
my
time.
God. I watched it probably last year because I was a couple of years ago. Lynn's had never seen the second one.
Okay.
And she loves the first one. And I was like, what are you nuts? We got, and she's like, I don't want to watch it. She's like, I don't care. It's in Africa or something. I don't want to, cause it is like, just the setting is so different from the first one.
Yeah.
And I was like, you gotta watch it. And I was like, just all right. Tell you what, have you seen the second one?
Yeah.
Okay. I played the rhinoceros scene where he's stuck inside the rhinoceros, and like, she's like, yeah, this isn't doing it for me. I was like,
really?
That's insane. Yeah. I mean, it's probably because she didn't see it when she was 10, like everybody else. Like if you saw Ace Ventura now, for the first time, you might be like, this is pretty stupid.
I think that's why I haven't gone back to it because it
holds up as long as like, yeah, Ace Ventura 1 is they're both funny. They're both hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah. I'll rewatch it soon.
I'll watch that. I'll report back next week. I'll watch Ace Ventura.
Why are we talking about Ace Ventura?
Because
one
of the mobsters is a cop in
those mobsters, like they were weird, man. They got under my skin. Just their voices because they were probably like actual mobsters, probably.
Well, they were like, I liked them because they were like interrupting him. Like their dialogue seemed genuine because they were like over talking each other. They weren't like taking lines. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And it was probably by accident, but I thought it worked.
Totally.
Also, when he gets hit by the car after he
oh yeah,
bails on him in the jewelry store. You also don't know what happens in the jewelry store. He just runs out. So you're like, are those guys dead? Are they caught? Like what happened? He like half gets run over by this car. I don't know what even happened. Like but the briefcase goes flying across the street. That's the other thing. All that diamond stuff. Not to say it didn't. I guess it did like lead to the cops busting him and all that stuff. But it was just more stuff.
Yeah,
for this movie to have
another
to deal
line.
with.
You get the heist line. You get the serial killer. You get the creature. Yeah, and then you get the
Well,
like
also,
relationship.
he also tricks the mobsters into getting eaten by this thing too.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean,
That was cool.
everybody that got jacked by the creature, I thought was a really good, not just kill, but the way that it happened, like why they were there, like the mobsters being led up there. I thought that was great on his part.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'll take you to the case. Come this way. And then there's all these people in New York, I guess, that sunbathe on rooftops, like on
Yeah.
like on the 100th floor of buildings. So that made sense. The one guy who's like, the girl doing push-ups,
Yeah.
right? And the guy's like, this is bullshit. I'm not watching you anymore. And he jumps into the pool, and then it's like, oh, like this
Yeah.
shows up and just takes him. I think that's the dude that gets like showered all over the city.
Yeah. Yeah. It was.
It was awesome.
Oh, I love the construction guy. That was maybe
The sandwich.
Yeah, where he's like, "Which one of you guys is taking my fucking sandwich every day?" And it's a whole thing. He's yelling at everybody, and you're thinking like, "Oh, the creature must be eating his sandwich every day."
But then I was like, "Why the fuck is this creature eating this sandwich?"
But then after this thing eats him, then they show the other construction workers eating his sandwich, being like, "Yeah, they're dickhead."
I thought about that though.
That cracked me up that they showed him.
They do put it in your head that the creature is taking the sandwich after we've seen the creature kill people and eat people. And then I thought for a second, I was like, wait a minute, why the fuck would this creature go into a man's lunch pail, take his sandwich, but not kill anybody? I was like, you guys fooled me.
But they did, because the thing is, the other guys are like, why would I take your sandwich? Shut up. We got to go to lunch. And like, you're thinking like, oh, this guy's really upset, and seemingly someone's been taking a sandwich all week.
It was a really cool shot.
He works on a roof. I mean,
it was a really cool shot when the creature does go after the guy and he like launches across the screen. It was a really cool shot.
And then they show like the bloody hard hat, like hit the ground.
Bloody hard hat, yeah. And then I think his foot or something.
Yeah.
There's a scene, the scene when they raid the Chrysler Building, and they're going up to the top, all the police, the SWAT and everything. They got their guns and all that shit. There was no music playing during that scene. It was just like sound effects of them running and going up. That immediately I was like, dude, you need some Ghostbusters music right there. The scene where
you need some music, period.
Where the National Guard comes in and that song's playing in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And they all line up outside before the earthquake. That would have been like perfect Ghostbusters music right there. It just would have enhanced the scene. But I don't know, man. I don't really have anything else on it unless you got something.
Me neither. I'm glad I watched it.
I am too. I'm really glad.
It's been Q. It's slim pickings for Q. It was, we've been putting this one off a long time.
Yeah, definitely. Cult classic. I like cult classics. So next week, letter R.
R.
I forgot to look it up. Can you give me a minute? Sorry. All right, Kevin. So I have the letter R for next week. There's a lot of good choices. Reanimator, Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead 2. I've never seen, what was the one I said with John Lithgow?
Raising Cain.
I've never seen that.
Rawhead Rex,
which, man, have you've seen that movie?
Yeah.
Okay. That was one of my favorites as a kid. I watched it a couple years ago again, and I've seen it a bunch of times. It's a really fucked up movie.
Yeah.
I'd like to watch it sometime. I'm not going to pick it, but I'd like to watch it sometime and talk about it on the show. But I'm gonna throw a curveball at you, man. Are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah. Some of my favorite movies.
I know, right? Well,
yeah. Let's see.
They're movies that I know they are. I know Reanimator and Return of the Living Dead are some of your favorite movies, and I like watching the ones that we haven't seen if we can.
Sure.
I haven't seen this. Repo Man, 1984, Emilio Estevez.
I own it. I've seen it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I've never seen it.
It's
probably a little more sci-fi than horror.
It is. It's weird, man. It's weird. It's not, but not necessarily in a good way.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Cool. All right. Let's do that.
Okay. I haven't seen it in a while.
All right.
But yeah, I've seen it.
All right. Cool. Repo Man, 1984, Emilio Estevez, Harry Dean Stanton. There's a couple other people in there. Anyway, we'll look forward to that. Not next week. Kevin's out of town, so we're going to take the week off. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new show. In the meantime, you can check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/deathbypodcast. If you need more podcasting, we got BoobTube TV over there, where we're doing our current theme is Halloween-based sitcoms from the 80s and 90s. We did Perfect Strangers, and then this week we did Roseanne, who has some awesome Halloween show episodes, and we'll have those up on the Patreon for you. What else, Kevin? What am I forgetting? We're gonna try to make it to the Chicago Horror Con, which is in 2 weeks, I believe.
Yep, flashback weekend.
And so find us there. We'll be handing out stickers, hopefully, and we will, if we are there, we will be handing out stickers. Hopefully, we will be there. Other than that, I think that's it. Are you satisfied?
Yeah, I'm satisfied.
All right, Q, Winged Serpent, good movie. Mo, I love that guy. I want to see the other Larry Cohen movies. It's a trilogy called It's Alive. It's Alive 2, It's Alive 3. He is the star of all three. And he has a mutant baby. It's weird.
Yeah, I'd watch that. I mean,
Yeah,
it sounds like well, I was gonna say it sounds like a Razorhead, but it's got fucking Moriarty in it, so I'm sure it's not.
Yeah, right. It's crazy.
And yeah, Bill Burring it up.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. We will see you in about a week and a half. I'm your host, Adam, and that's your other host,
Kevin.
It's Miller time. Kevin, James, are you there?
Shut the fuck up.
Woo! Coming in hot. What was the thing you wanted to do if James Woods was starring in the movie? Is that
like who would you replace? Yeah, I feel like that's a good game.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you could play with Tom Hanks or James. I just like James Woods, but like, you can choose any actor.
Yeah, we'll get that going at some point.
I think you could literally change out. You do this with every movie, and it'll probably make. I was thinking about Saving Private Ryan today. Well, it's a good movie, and I think Tom Hanks is good in the movie. I think you replace Tom Hanks with James Woods. It's a better movie.
Get out of here, folks. Thanks for listening.
No, it makes sense because the whole movie they're like, oh, he's such a hard ass, and then there's like shock that he's a teacher, and like, and it's like, no, he's Tom Hanks. Like, yeah, he's not. You know what I mean? He doesn't come off.
Yeah, no, I get it. But
like, I think it was written for like a James Woods type. And
James Woods has no compassion.
Yeah, but that's what I think. Like, imagine that. Imagine that he's like James Woods the whole movie, and then he has the scene where he's like, "I'm a teacher. I coach. I coach softball in the summertime." Like, it would be. It would work, but like Tom Hanks isn't that guy. Tom Hanks, yeah, he looks like a fucking substitute teacher,
right?
So it does that. It seems doesn't work as well as it could.
I'd just be expecting him to kill vampires at some point, like German vampires. Yeah, he is. Let's make the sequel: Saving James Woods. Yeah, shit. Folks, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Adios.